Welcome to the Beer Can Cold Podcast with your hosts Will Merritt and JG Van Graan, a podcast where the suction line is always beer can cold. Take it away, boys.
Thanks, Dougie. We're back.
Thanks, Doug.
We took a week off. No, you took a week off.
I don't know if I would call that taking it off, but we were out of town.
Oh, come on, man. I know how those go. They're fun. You were off. Cheers. Cheers. Welcome back to the world headquarters of the Beer Can Cold podcast out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Guests, where are you at the moment?
Right now, we are in Bonita Springs, Florida.
So, trifecta call-in on the world headquarters here. So it's going to be a fun one today. We have some really fun stuff to talk about. Our guest is Kevin and Kelcey, and we'll get them to introduce themselves here in just in a minute.
No, wait, we have to go back.
Ryan.
Okay.
That's a joke between me and
Well,
I.
you were trying to call me Kevin all week.
Damn it.
Just the first night. Hold on.
Okay. Thank you, Will Merritt.
See, that's the perfect start off. No.
Love you, brother.
All right. We'll start that over again. So, no, we're happy to have a couple of guests.
Kelcey and Brian. I'm sorry.
Kevin.
Kelcey,
You're
Kevin,
going to start calling him Kevin, Kelcey. See what I started?
Kelcey, Kevin, and
No,
Brian. All right.
No, we were hanging out with these guys in Florida and Orlando last week. So,
Oh my God.
got the pleasure of having Kelcey, Ryan Brueggeman with us. Kelcey is is it vice president or president now? I know y'all changed titles.
No, vice president. I got to bring the previous president back so I could do what I need to do now.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So
wait. Yeah, you demoted yourself.
Yes.
Oh, that's sweet. I kind of like that, actually. How do I do that?
People really, they question me about it, but it's I'm also a part owner.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know what it's going to take to make this company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doesn't the vice president really run the show?
It's true. It's you're the neck that turns the head wherever it needs to go, right? It's my wife. Yeah. My wife's the vice president.
The position I'm in right now, yeah.
That's right. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sorry.
I know what I need to do to make this company worth what it needs to be. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Kevin. That's now Brian. I apologize for that. That's my cohort Will's fault because he emailed the paper.
It's Brian.
Ryan.
So now it's
Brian.
Brian. We have Brian, Ryan, and Kevin. I love it. So we're just going to call you George. Is George okay?
He has a brother named Brian. That's another story.
So, all right. Well, a great start to this podcast. And this is why I love what we do because it is a lot of fun. So, but I did want to, Will and guests, ask for just a second here. And I don't want to bring the energy down, but I do need to share something with you guys and something with our audience because I need some help. Last Monday, well, let me back up. We hired a lot of young people from the community college. They work for us part-time. We pay for their tuition, and then they work the rest of the time they go to school. So one of these young men that we picked up, Jonathan Waugh, is just one of those men. If you meet him, you see Polynesian ukulele playing, smiling guy that always hugs everybody, and just a great kid. He's 19 years old. Actually, I think he just turned 20, but always a smile, Christmas time, we handed out bonuses, and he couldn't believe he got one. Big smile, hugs and tears, and just always he'll walk in my office and make me stand up from my desk and give him a hug. That's his MO, right? So he's a great kid. Monday, he didn't feel great, so he ended up going to the urgent care. They told him that they couldn't help him there. He needed to go to the emergency room, and when he got there, we got a call about midday that said that he is in bad shape, and there's cancer all through his body. So it's shaken our company a little bit. A lot of the the owners and a lot of the employees have been by to see him. He's in induced coma at the moment. They're really trying to work on him. There's some surgery coming and stuff. So the only reason I bring it up is I'm going to post the GoFundMe for his family on the bottom of the podcast. If you guys could, whoever's listening, whoever can donate something, every little bit helps. So just wanted to get this out there. This is part of why we do this podcast, is to kind of bring some of this stuff to light too. So I didn't mean to bring the energy down, because it was quite nice calling Bob George. It was great. It was a lot of fun, but I just wanted to make sure that we highlight that piece of it. So with that said, Kelcey, why don't you introduce yourself properly, and then we'll get to David later, about, introducing
David.
him.
Oh my God.
We'll get you a beverage, Ryan.
I should. Because my name's going to change 4 times before this is over.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's more fun
better
that way.
to have
Well, I mean, I'm going to introduce myself in a second here, but
Sure.
we invited him because he is kind of the celebrity of the group.
Oh, I know.
So
We're
we'll
getting
get there.
we're
We'll get
getting
there
to
in a
that.
minute.
So
I agree.
notice that I'm calling him
He is
different
a
names.
celebrity.
Well, no, notice I call him different. I'll tease it. I call him different names because I'm 800 miles from him. I wouldn't call him different names in front of him. See, that's how it works. So, no, Ryan, sorry about all that. That's Will's fault. You can talk to him about
No,
it
it's
later.
okay.
I take full blame.
No, I thought it was perfect for him to join us because he also gets what we're all doing here.
Yes. Yep. I agree
I'm
with that.
Kelcey Brueggeman. I'm the Executive Vice President of Business Development and Sales for SBE. I started out with SBE as the general manager. I was the president for 4 years also, but most recently I became the executive vice president and brought back the previous president. And that's a whole longer story that we can get into if you want to.
Sure.
But really, because SBE is about helping contractors grow, obviously, and we bring contractors in to coach and train them. But my role is more about also developing the relationships with not only all the distributors out there, the vendors out there, the manufacturers out there, but finding the right contractors, if that makes sense, because we can't help everybody.
Right.
We help a very specific contractor that's ready to grow.
Yeah.
That's who fits what we do, but it's about just really elevating this industry,
Right.
which is what I think we're all about and why I'm here.
Yeah, and it's actually awesome
Yes.
because I met you many moons ago when I was still
Yes.
with distribution. And one part of the success of my territory was getting people in front of you. Because I think at one time I had 3 contractors with you guys, and those guys exponentially grew. And I know, Will, you also had some
Right.
people that you sent Kelcey's way, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I've always been a really big fan. Full disclosure here, where we are at Moore Brothers, when I came here, they had a coaching group here, but I tell them about you all the time, Kelcey, just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
They'll eventually switch.
No,
So,
well, the guys were with us is really good too, and they're like part of the family too. But at the same token, everybody here knows about SBE because I talk about it a lot. So our head sales guy here is very competitive, and he goes onto your website constantly to find out who he's beating, even though he's not part of your program. So I had to send him the picture of the guy that won it this year. I just screenshot and sent it to him, and he's like, "Man, don't send me this stuff." Like, he gets all annoyed.
Yeah.
But it's part of it, right?
yeah. It makes
We
it
love
fun.
the competitive edge of it.
Yeah.
They all love it.
Yeah.
And they support each other, which is what I love the most.
Yes.
As competitive as they are all part of a group that helps lift each other up.
Right.
And that's what I think it's about.
So let's start this way, right? So I'm a contractor with about 10 employees. So walk me through what qualifies me to become a customer of yours and for us to get into a partnership.
It's a good question. If I'm Derek and our director of sales, who is also my only black belt coach, who has been with SBE long enough and knows enough about every single aspect of a company, he would have a conversation with you, ask you enough questions. And in the end, you have to want it enough, I think.
There it
But
is.
more importantly, you have to be an owner that is either out of the field or willing to get out of the field.
There it is. Right there.
And you have to have that commitment or he will not even sign you up.
Right. Hang the other hats up, right? Because we've talked about this too before. It's like, it's what plate is spinning and which one is falling. You can't do that if you want to go down this path.
I think
you
that
can't work on the business enough, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's working in the business versus working on the business. You
Mhm.
know, it's very hard to do both, and I think that's where we align with you guys so much. Is not that we don't have some clients that the owner, you know, is still in the field, but it tends to be a better fit when the owner's out of the field. They're more readily available for strategy sessions, you know, and meetings versus, you know, it's an emergency and I've got to be out on this job,
Right.
type of thing. So that's kind of how we align as well too. So, and I just want to take a second to plug you guys' conference. We just got back from Orlando, and it's the Service Business Evolution Conference, and it's great. It's our third year we've been there, and it's you know, it's a work hard, play hard group. Ryan would attest to that, and we thoroughly enjoy it. A lot of good relationships, and again, I think I told Kelcey this year one when we were coming back. It was in Scottsdale that year, and we were immediately coming back going to the carrier meeting, and it's a dealer meeting, so it's a different dynamic than kind of a business owner technician celebrating their accomplishments thing. So I said this is great because everybody is really into what they do, and they're, you know, excited about growing their business, and that's who we look for, you know, as a marketing company. And you know, come back to go to a dealer meeting, and then you've got a trade booth set up, and they kind of come by and look at you like, oh yeah, so you do marketing, okay, and I'll sign your thing and move on. Versus someone that genuinely wants to engage with you and find out what you do, what you're about.
Okay. Well,
So,
hold on.
so we had a blast last week.
You have a table, because I was there last year. You have a great table, and they want to talk about your marketing. You're not there peddling something that's broken and you can't tell anybody. So I just want to put that out there as a little inside joke, but I'm just saying you had a much better time than I did that last year. So
Yeah,
I mean, and the bacon giveaway. We were talking about it with Ryan's grandmother and their whole family this last week about how can you not love that you give away 6 months of bacon?
it's awesome.
you got her bacon yesterday, by the way. I think
I can't
ordered
even
it
imagine how excited they were.
It's awesome.
I need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure Tracy
18
got it.
pounds
Yeah,
over 6 months. Is that what it is?
yeah, it's a company, baconfreak.com, and one of my friends had it. And so my wife got it for me for Christmas, like 6 months. That's what we gave away. So you get 3 packages, like 3 pounds. Actually, I think bacon's not a pound anymore. It's shrinkflation. So it's 14 ounces, but you get 3 different kinds delivered to your home once a month. Comes in like a freezer pack. So it's usually frozen or close to, but you never know what you're going to get. So it's nothing better than to get something you can eat. You know, either booze or food in the mail is the best thing to receive.
Oh, it's Christmas year round.
She'll get 3 packages of bacon. Ryan, Brian, Todd,
Kevin.
Kevin, whatever it takes. 220, 221. But no, we give it away, and we actually dressed up, and there's video and photographic evidence. So we dressed up as bacon.
I love
so
it.
that's actually
Everyone loves your giveaway.
So
Most popular.
hang on, I got to show this if it'll come through. This is
did you
this is Jen's new photo
are you still doing hot
on my
sauce?
phone.
That's good.
Yeah, we're still doing
I like it. Well done.
By the way,
I changed the photo
Ryan
she
became
called
one
to
of the
me.
most popular because he's the bourbon guy with all the other bourbon guys, and he completely fits the mold of all these contractors and Will, of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
we enjoyed our bourbon Wednesday night. We had a nice dinner, nice quiet dinner.
Was this the Wednesday night that we were supposed to record a podcast?
I feel like yes.
Correct.
That's awesome. No, I got the text. I knew where you were, and I was like, no, good. I need the night off because girls' rugby season started, and that's all I'm doing right now. So I'm screaming at teenage girls. That's, kind of my MO for the next 4 months. So, and anyway, yeah, I needed a night off. It was good. So when you guys decide to work with a contractor, tell me about that onboarding process, because I'm sure it's a deep dive into financials. It's a deep dive into understanding the business, and then coming up with some KPIs. Because I guarantee you, and tell me if I'm wrong, 90% of the people you talk to don't even know what a P&L is half the time.
That is true.
Yep.
But I feel like we make it pretty simple.
Yes.
It's more about what their average ticket is now, and how many maintenance agreements they have now and what it could look like.
Yes.
And we do a very simple math formula with them to show them what their business could look like with the current people, trucks that they have now, as if they didn't add any more calls, any more people, any more trucks. This is how SBE can impact you now if you just slow down your calls and let us train them.
Right.
And I think that's what's most important, because everybody thinks when I join a training company or a coaching company, I have to invest a bunch of money. I have to add a bunch of trucks, a bunch of people. I have to hire. No, you don't. You just need to slow down on what you have and let us help you maximize and make your people the most productive they can be. And that's what we're really good at.
Yeah, we started
smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
We started doing that here, so we're heavily focusing on our service department this year. Install department's doing really well, and then the kitchen department we're revamping, and then we're starting a plumbing department. So it's a little busy over here. But I make a tech scorecard, and at the end of every month, it goes on all the televisions in the building, and the techs can kind of see where they are. But instead of focusing on revenue, we started focusing just on average ticket, on percentages, conversion percentages, and then leads coming into the building. And I'm kind of playing a little bit with the 4DX philosophy, and what that kind of means is like, don't focus on the big number, focus on the little things that can change the big number. And so we just, in February, which is a really horrible time of year for us actually, the guys was $1 on average, $1 below the ticket average we want to be. And so it's just because my service manager just started doing coaching just on that piece of it. Hey, we're just going to focus on average ticket. What can we do to get it up? And I'm telling you, it's so powerful. And I've sit in on some of the coaching you guys do, and it's really powerful how you guys work with these technicians.
I feel like when what happens after they attend our training is that most of them will say it was a breath of fresh air, because they normally hate training,
right?
Because they feel like it's about selling.
Yes.
And no technician wants to be a salesperson.
Right.
None of them do. And as a matter of fact, they hate it. And when they go into a technician meeting, most service managers will say, how many thermostats did you sell this week? How many, what did you, why didn't you upgrade this? Why didn't you do that? It's not about beating them down.
Yeah.
It really is about teaching them a customer service process.
Right.
So when people say that we teach selling technicians at SBE, they couldn't be more wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It is about a customer service process. Capturing a customer through a maintenance agreement, number one, no matter what.
Yes.
And if you can't get that maintenance agreement, then you're going to invite yourself back to systems that are 10 years and older, and we teach them how to do that.
Right.
Because that's way cheaper than advertising. It just is. And just capturing as many customers and taking them off the market so that when they're ready to buy and when their system fails, we are there, you are there, you are going to sell them what they need in their most needed hour, as well as duct cleaning, whatever it is that company sells. We're going to help you figure out how to walk a customer through getting your system to last as long as they want it to last, which they will always say forever.
Yeah, that's right.
20 years, whatever the number is, here's what that's going to take. Here's how I can help you. It's not about, let me sell you something you don't need. It's about, let me help you make that system last as long as you want it to last, period.
Yeah. Let it be their decision.
That's refreshing.
Right.
It's refreshing.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, we and actually, so when we hire here, we've beaten this horse to death on this podcast already, but we do the discs, and what I'm finding is the people that we tend to hire is very low Ds. They're not the drivers. They're not the, have to make a decision now. We are really hiring people that's conscientious, people that is not high pressure, and it's really showing, right? And actually the revenue is just fine. I don't need to beat a customer down every time I walk through the door. I just want to make sure they're happy with me, because if they're happy with me, they're going to tell 4 other people.
Take care of them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. It's a great approach. And then you guys sometimes bring people to your location for training, right? In the Phoenix area?
I would say, yeah, it's usually the larger companies that come into Phoenix, but anyone is welcome to come into Phoenix. We have we have a $500,000 training center in Phoenix that George Brazil uses, that they will take all of their managers out of the field for a complete day. We don't charge anybody for it.
Wow.
Anyone can come in and ask them any question they want, walk through the school, walk through the training, see all of it, take pictures of it all, copy it if they wanted to. There's no fear of that. They just want to give back to this industry and help other contractors do what they've done and help customers in the time they need help.
Yeah. And the training facility is quite impressive.
It is.
Last year. I mean, literally, it's like a real home to where the technician can ring the doorbell.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a kitchen table. They come in and sit just like the real thing. And then
a bathroom,
working systems are they use package units in the Southwest and the West on the roof. So there's a partial roof with a packaged unit on it, and it was very impressive. So I could see when we did the tour last year, there were technicians in training. And what I understand, and this is where I think our industry has really gone to, is they're bringing people straight green into the industry. And then if they've got the skill set, a lot of communication, soft skills, kind of what you're saying, JG, they're not real intense, high salespeople, but bring them in and they can grow them from the ground floor up. And, I really.
They don't have to be a technician. Right. I mean, one of their best technicians at George Brazil is somebody who came from a deli counter.
Yeah.
Who took really good care of a customer. And one of the managers was like, can we please hire you? Can I talk to you? Will you even entertain coming into this industry? And today she's a 6-figure technician taking care of customers, doing amazing.
We put a high emphasis on just that here. We don't, if I can help not hiring from the industry, I don't normally, because I like to teach them my own bad habits. So, my service manager, not from the industry, we had Elle on last week or the week before. And it's just kind of, we're looking for these people with skill sets. I can teach them heating and air. It's not a problem. We have 3 sales guys here. They're all above 3 million. And one of them is from the industry. The other 2 completely brand new. And so even our service technicians, I took just a quick calculation the other day, about 60% of our guys here has never worked for anybody else. And so it's creating this really cool culture where we do things that's completely outside the box. And it's almost like when you get an idea and it's an industry idea, you're like, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. But it does sound to me like we have a place to do a road trip podcast if there's a kitchen table. I'm just saying,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I think that'll be a fun one.
Jim is more of a Scotch guy, so you guys might have to do a bourbon/Scotch.
Well, I'm
He told me that. He told me that Friday evening. No, Thursday evening.
He's also red wine, so I go between red wine and Scotch. But he's an amazing mentor and an amazing leader.
Well, I'm South African.
He was telling me he's off sugar.
Yeah.
Now,
he's off sugar.
Cut sugar out of his diet, and I'm like, that's impossible. Sugar's in everything,
Well,
so, almost.
I'm South African, so it's beer and brandy. I'm sorry. So I'm going to have to bring my own, I guess. So it's all good. No. So what size company, is a company ever too big? And the reason I ask that question is what I'm finding, because I've been part of BDR a little bit, I've been part of several different people, is that you kind of hit a point. And then that point is you've gone through everything they have. It's been repetitive, right? What I've always liked about you guys is that's not the case, because the coaching and the training is always one-on-one with the tech. So it's tailored to what the tech needs. So do you ever feel like there's a point that a company gets too big for you, or it's that you can't help them anymore?
That's a good question. I would say they're never too big.
Right.
They're probably too small, if anything.
Yes. Okay.
Because too small, they're not. They're working too hard in the business to be able to work on the business. If they've been with BDR, that's a perfect company for us because their financials are clean. They come into SBE. They also should be able to afford us,
right,
if they're working with BDR, because they're working on their financials and their bottom line. But quite honestly, half the time they come in and they're still not double digits,
right,
when they're with them. So for us, they're double digits within 1 year, or
Oh.
SBE didn't do their job.
That's awesome.
That's number one.
Right.
If you're not double
Is that kind
digit
of
net profit 1 year, we didn't do our job. What were you
So
going
is
to say?
that kind of an internal SBE rule, or kind of something y'all strive for? That's kind of, hey, yeah.
We do,
is that
because the
public?
first thing that we work on is pricing, and then maintenance agreement side of it, and the average tickets. And we should be able to make an impact in your company within those first 3 to 4 months to start that wave to happen to where you should have your first $1 million tech within 1 year, no matter what,
Yeah.
if they follow everything we ask. So to kind of take it further, I would say, again, if they're doing BDR and they're doing it the right way, they should be able to afford them and us. And they are amazing at P&Ls. We are good at we will help you with P&L. We will show you George Brazil's P&L. We will make P&Ls fun and easy for your team. I think that's what we're also known for. I will give you a good example. Carrier, in their last national meeting, hired SBE to do the P&L training, and hired BDR to do the leadership and sales training, which is opposite of what both of us do normally.
Oh, wow.
But I love it because contractors need a choice and they need change.
Yeah.
They don't need the same thing all the time. And because I say that because contractors will stay with SBE for 2 years and leave and come back after a year or two. You know, they'll bounce back and forth. So I feel like they crave change, if that makes sense. But I love that Carrier recognized that we're also really good at teaching financials, because they have to watch all of our classes and all that to approve us. So that's the only reason they would have even had us at a national meeting. And I heard that BDR was very upset about it, which is even funnier because we don't care. Like, I think BDR is an amazing company. And I think they're the best at it. I will say that, but I think it takes years of P&L training with them to be at your top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like P&L, if it makes sense, education doesn't mean you're going to be able to be double digits. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're focused on, you need double digit net profit and you need it within a year, period.
You know, and what's kind of sad,
It's not that hard.
What's kind of sad in our industry a little bit is, so I went to a BDR class 2 weeks ago, just continuing ed stuff. And so we were talking about a big section on P&Ls, and I had to do P&L by fire. So where I previously worked with Virginia Air, we did have some coaching a little bit on how to read that stuff, but it was really starting here 8 months ago that I had to do some self-education and really buckle down and understand P&Ls. And it's been, I didn't think it'd be fun, and I really enjoy it. So they bought me.
And not everybody does. Well, right?
They bought me a coffee mug. It's over here. It says, I have a spreadsheet for that, because I'm the spreadsheet king around here. And the reason spreadsheets are awesome. Well, spreadsheets are awesome because I suck at math, and it does it for me. So it's all good. But I was talking to the coach, because we are right in the middle of figuring out allocations. We're late. So I should have done the allocation configurations in December. I didn't, we couldn't get to it. So now we're trying to sort it out. And there's literally, I'm not lying to you, 5 different ways to figure allocations. They told me one way. I figured out, several different people I trust, I would talk to, I'd call, how do you do allocations? Everybody was different. So finally, I did some more research, and I came up with a way that actually worked really good for us, but it was completely different from the BDR stuff. And the reason I'm talking about all this is that's what's so hard a lot of times for people that step into my position, especially if they may be hired that's not from the industry. Luckily, I had some background, but it's like, there is 7 different ways to figure everything, and not all of them are right. Some are right, some is wrong. And so luckily here, we have some very smart people, and so we do what's right for us, and we run our P&L that way, and we know kind of internally what that needs to look like. But it's tough if you're a guy with 10 guys, you just got out of a truck, you're really starting to run your company, you want to go figure out allocations because you have an install department and a service department, and there's 7 different ways to do it. And you're like, I don't know, and that's why I think you guys are so valuable. Is if I'm getting to that point where I'm getting out of a truck and I have my technicians and I can start really focusing on my business, this is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, you need a coach because typically the heat and air guy was an installer or service tech said, "Hey, I'm going to quit working for somebody. I'm smart enough to do this myself." So they did not have a playbook. That's where you guys come in. That's
Right.
great.
Well, and the other sad thing is this industry is now flaunted with coaches. There's 5 million coaches for heating and air. And I last year on the circuit, I would ask one guy, I was like, so what's your background? Automotive sales. You're a heating and air coach. Like, where is this coming from, right? And so that's the thing is you guys actually understand heating and air because you came from a heating and air company. And I think that's a big deal too.
I agree.
Yeah.
So should we switch gears and go away from heating and air? Or should we
I feel like we need to talk a little bit to the celebrity over here.
I know.
Stop.
Because
I agree. That's what I've been waiting for. No,
I mean,
offense,
he is
Kelcey.
way more fun than me, and our contractors love him too.
okay.
Yeah, we can circle back. So
Ryan.
For sure.
So Ryan, I did Google you yesterday. So
Oh, he's Googleable. Dude.
It's quite a bit of information out there. So
Well, look, the FBI stuff doesn't count.
well, I did make it through a Secret Service background check back in 2020. I guess I'm okay at a certain rally, but we won't go any further than that. But, no, Ryan Brueggeman. Again, I got to spend some time with both he and Kelcey last week, and he put up with me. So at dinner and other places. So again, thank you for being on. And we want to hear more about you. So let's just take it from there. Give us a little background. Give us a 30,000-foot view down to street level.
Well, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, which is so I've been in the cycling industry, bicycles since the age of 12. My father and my mother owned the largest bicycle shop in the Midwest, and they kind of franchised out, and I started working for them until age 18, when I decided to join the Navy. And I spent my first 4 years in the Navy. I got out, opened up bicycle shops of my own, and then 9/11 happened, and I was recalled back to active duty involuntarily. And once I got there, I decided to kind of just stay and ride out the rest of my 20 years wherever I was at. I took either a part-time job or a management position in a bicycle shop on the side. And I retired in 2014 here in the Phoenix area, I should say. And
before, I would say he did 9 tours. Don't discount it. He was he was special warfares. He did 9 tours, spent so many years overseas. Your body has paid for it, and you have contributed to our country greatly, for sure.
Well, thank you for your service.
And again, I apologize for punching you at dinner.
No,
that's one of my things.
She tries to give me a whole lot of credit, but
no, you deserve it.
But so I retired from the military in 2014, and I was in Phoenix at that time and started managing a few bicycle shops. And in that time, I got involved in mixed martial arts and became a mixed martial arts referee. And so, I kind of set some goals for myself and decided I wanted to be a UFC referee. I wanted to ref in the top promotions, and I accomplished that goal. So I got to ref in the UFC and Bellator and LFA and some of the top promotions out there in the country. And then, in the meantime, I was still in the cycling industry. And so about almost 5 years ago now, I bought a bicycle shop here in Phoenix. And I'm in the process right now of acquiring another. Hopefully that'll be finalized on Friday. So, I kind of have a varied background. I'm also the president of USA Mixed Martial Arts. So different mixed martial arts promotions will hire my company to provide their regulatory affairs. So referees, judges, inspectors, doctors, hiring the ambulance companies if they're needed, and that kind of thing. So, so we're in several states doing that as well. So kind of a varied background, but I love it. I love the challenge.
That's awesome. thank you for your service too. And this
Yeah,
kind of
thank
rings
you
true
too.
with me.
You're welcome.
My daughter's being heavily recruited by the Naval Academy right now, so I think
Awesome.
we're on the path for this. She needs her congressional nomination. But I think that she's probably going to end up at prep first. But no, and we have a real heart for service. And being South African, my dad fought a war. I unfortunately was never able to join anywhere. It just didn't get into my life. Heating and Air chose me, and I had to go down this road. But thank you. But I have a question, and once I read what Will wrote today, I have this question, and it might not make sense, but it's a real thing I've always wanted to ask somebody that has done some of the stuff that you've done. Why mixed martial arts over boxing? Because I'm an old Leon Spinks heavyweight. Let's get toe to toe. Let's figure this thing. And I'll tell you.
So Leon Spinks is a St. Louis boy, which is where I'm from.
There you go.
So the Spinks brothers, Leon and Corey,
Nice.
Leon and then the nephew Corey, all from St. Louis, big boxing guys.
Yes.
So, for me, when I got into the combat sports world, I did it because I was horrified about the status of judging. I thought some fighters were being robbed and the whole thing. But the reason that I progressed into mixed martial arts was because I really felt like that was where I could make a change.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing at that point, they kind of had their guys, right? They
Right.
had their judges that were going to be there for every fight. The referees were kind of set, the whole thing. And it was really difficult to break in there. The other thing that I really disliked about boxing is that a lot of the mega fights were done while at least one fighter was out of their prime.
Yes, you're right.
They would go back and forth
Yep.
for years, negotiating, and then one guy would duck the other until he was just out of his prime, and then the fight would be made.
Yes.
And so you would get kind of a skewed result. Whereas in mixed martial arts, the guys would, they want to fight the best.
Yeah.
When they're the best, and they really want to test themselves. So I kind of gained a new respect for that type of combat athlete who wasn't really ducking the other guy who might actually be better.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that assessment. And when I say old school boxing, I'll never forget the story. So I grew up on a farm in South Africa, and we just got satellite TV, and Dad was so excited, and so he, I think, didn't tell Mom, but I think he sold 4 cows to be able to afford a pay-per-view, right? So this is this big deal, man. Everybody comes out. We have a sheep on the spit. It's go time, right? And the fight comes on, and it's so exciting. And everybody is in the garage, and everybody start picking their favorites. And that's the fight that Tyson knocked the guy out in 20 seconds. And I remember how incredibly mad my dad was. He's like, I paid all this money, and the fight's over.
Which
And
one?
That was Michael Spinks. He knocked him
right.
out in 91 seconds.
That's right. And it was
Really?
it was over. And the reason they were excited to watch a Spinks fight is because Gary Coetzee, the South African boxer, also beat Spinks at some point, right? So they're there was this, because, they wanted to see this fight. And so it's it was over in 91 seconds. And Dad spent all his money. We got the satellite dish and stuff.
I remember those.
He was so incredibly mad. Then they just drank a lot of beer. So it was okay. But, it was, I will never forget that fight. But no, and I'm starting to get into MMA now, but it's purely because of Dricus, right? So I'm quite a bit of a fan of Dricus, but I'm not a fan of the fights as much as I know the backstory on him a little bit and how hard he's working to get where he is, because this whole slogan of they don't know what we know type of thing in South Africa is those guys fight without, you can be in the gym, the power goes out. You can walk outside, get mugged. It's not a safe place to be. So yeah. I'm following his story quite closely, and I'm excited for the next fight. I don't know if you have any opinion on him.
Well, the same thing is true with all fighters. They all say, this guy's never seen a fighter like me. They've never been up against a fighter like me. Well,
right.
That's kind of a worn out saying, in my opinion.
Sure.
Lennox Lewis was famous for that back in
Yep.
the day. He's never fought a fighter like me. Well, of course not. You're you.
Yeah.
But in the end, what really matters is, has the guy really trained hard? And what is the matchup like? Is it a striker versus a grappler?
Yeah.
Is it a jiu-jitsu guy against maybe a judo guy? And those are really the dynamics that matter during a fight. How are they going to match up that way?
Right.
Mhm.
I don't put a lot of I've just been doing this way too long, and I feel like when somebody starts talking a lot, and then you get that quiet guy who just says, "Okay, keep talking."
Right.
That's the guy I worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think,
Well, I think too, like I know we're not supposed to talk politics, but what I love about what Ryan's doing is that he got into this because his dream was to see MMA get to the Olympics.
oh, that's
So
pretty
I
cool.
would love to have him tell you a little bit about that journey, because it is political BS.
Oh, I'm sure.
And people don't know about it. They don't
Right.
know about it.
We can do anything we want. We're on the Beer Can Cold podcast, so,
Yeah.
so feel free. Go ahead.
This is
I
behind the
want to know.
scenes. Like, people don't know how this works, and I feel like his, like, literally this guy's lifelong dream and what he has worked at behind the scenes. And I can't even, like, I don't even want to cry about it, but like, it makes me want to cry.
Mm-hmm.
What he has done to try to get the sport to the Olympics. It's crazy.
So, without getting that dramatic about it,
I mean, I want to cry. But yeah.
Okay.
no, she's been so supportive. But so one of my dreams, as Kelcey said, has been to see mixed martial arts in the Olympic Games, and we have run up against roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and a lot of it comes from the traditional Olympic sports, so taekwondo and judo and boxing. You know, when one combat sport goes in, another one has to come out. And one of the ones that has been on the chopping block persistently, you know, over the last couple of Olympic cycles has been wrestling. And that has really torn at my heart. I was a 24-year wrestling official, high school and NCAA. So, you know, when I see wrestling on the chopping block, you know, it always kind of tugs at me. But
Right.
That's stupid, right? People will watch wrestling and MMA. As like lay people, that we would say, how stupid is this?
Well, you know, one of the problems is that wrestling and judo and taekwondo is an Olympic sport. The scoring is hard to understand. You know, you don't understand what a point is versus a stalling call or whatnot. And wrestling is the same way, because wrestling is a predominantly European sport. But when it comes to a fight, you know who's winning for the most part, right? You know at the end of a round who's walking back to a corner and they're all bloody and they're tired. You know who won that round without having to understand the intricacies for the most part.
Right.
And that's not necessarily the case in wrestling and in judo and taekwondo. So I think the sport of MMA is a little bit more exciting. The action is more exciting for the most part.
100%.
So I really wanted to see that in the Olympic Games. And so the question was, how do we let fighters fight every day over a 5-day period to win a gold medal? Right? Because most fighters in the UFC, when they sign for a fight, they're training for 3 months for one fight, and then it's over.
And then they recoup for 3 months,
How do we
right?
get a guy who's willing to compete for 5 days, make weight every day, pass medicals every day? That's a special kind of athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're out there. So we started this process in Europe, and we had world championships and the whole thing, and these fighters were out there. And because they were amateurs, because we were trying to make this look like an Olympic sport, you know, we kind of restricted the rule set, right? So no elbows, no knees to the head, you know, that kind of, no twisting leg submissions. But we made them wear shin guards. We made them wear a heavier glove. They were in rash guards instead of, you know, bare chested, the whole thing. So we really kind of took it and made it look like almost Olympic boxing, you know, where the guys are wearing a shirt instead of being bare chested. They wear headgear in boxing. So it looked like an amateur sport. And that was really the key. So we tried that. And, you know, up until I would say 2 years ago, it was really successful. But now you get into the ego of the sports, right? Where coaches want to coach their own fighters. So you can't put together a USA team with one coach. Every fighter wants their own coach, you know, and money really becomes an issue. So that's really where the sport is now, you know, trying to overcome those obstacles. But I am super optimistic. I'm really hoping that in LA 2028, that amateur MMA is going to be in the Olympic Games. So that's been my focus in combat sports for the past
been your dream.
Almost 10 years.
Well, and
Where is the IOC for this, Ryan? I mean,
So
are they that close? Are they talking with you guys? Or
it's a really good question. So, so it's not really the IOC. So before the IOC, you have to get past what's called Sport Accord. And Sport Accord is the gateway to the IOC.
Okay.
The problem is that Sport Accord, their board of directors, is governed by a member from judo, a member from taekwondo, a member from wrestling, a member from sambo, a member from Muay Thai now. So when they see a sport such as MMA that's going to come in and possibly replace one of them,
right,
that's where the roadblocks really begin.
Radar goes up, and they're like, "Nope."
That's where I was saying the politics.
Yeah,
Well, I bet I bet.
Yeah.
So that's really been the roadblock, and you have to get past Sport Accord to get to the IOC. That's kind of the gateway. So, but another problem when it comes to getting the public familiar with all of these sports is that, when was the last time you saw Olympic wrestling on the television? It was probably 2:00 in the morning if you saw it at all.
right.
So
I wouldn't watch it anyway. Sorry, it would. No.
Right. So
But you would watch MMA maybe.
100%. No,
100% you would.
Right.
So they tend to put these different combat sports on during weird viewership times, where somebody's in bed or where the bulk of the audience is going to be asleep. So it's really a disservice to the athletes. That being said, you don't want to see a guy who's been working in judo or taekwondo all of his life, all of a sudden he can't compete in the Olympics because the sport's been gone.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is that the Olympics has been losing sponsors for years. Anheuser-Busch sponsored them for years and years and years. But since the viewership has gone down, all these sponsors start to pull out. So now you have to start thinking about, do we put sports in there that it's going to increase viewership, or do we put sports in there that are more traditional and all the athletes train to? And that's a really fine line to walk.
Well, see, that's why they added rugby a couple of years ago, right? Kind of in my vein, the stuff I'm involved with, because sevens, which is a form of rugby, took off in popularity, especially in the U.S., and it's booming. And so therefore it's the viewership thing, right? And so now you have some of those, one of the, and I'm sure she's popped up on your stream. She's a very famous women's rugby player here with something over 1 million followers on Instagram, but she's the face of the sport now. But it was all the Olympics kind of catapulted that some more, and the viewership. But to your point, those games are all played during the day, right? In peak watch hours.
Yeah. So I think the biggest hurdles that we have are overcoming the traditional sports that want to stay in no matter what, and realizing that there's a whole new viewership, a more active viewership that can come in and not only increase TV viewership, but bring new sponsors, bring new life to the Olympic Games, bring more excitement. We all remember, back in the 70s and 80s, the thrill of the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And when you saw that, when the Olympic program, you were fired up. You wanted to see whatever was on. Now you kind of turn in and it's like, this is shuffleboard on ice.
Yeah.
This is what the hell am I watching?
Dressage.
And so now you want to see really exciting sports, where there's drama and there's action and guys that really train. And, it's not to water down what these other people are doing in their respective sports, but if it doesn't bring viewership, it's not going to work.
That's right.
Yeah, we all have to evolve. It's like everything. It's like, if we want to dovetail this back into HVAC, the HVAC industry is evolving, and same as this. I mean, just because this is the way it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago, it changes. We all have to look at that. And we all, you talk about
part of what our name is, right? That's why we were named Service Business Evolution. Dave Probst, who founded us, was about attended so much training over the years, and he was like, nothing changes.
That's
30
right.
years, same stuff, same day, like different day. And he was like, we have to constantly evolve it, and that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, man, it's we all have to evolve. So what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah.
Well, evolution, no matter what industry, right? So the principles of customer service never change.
No,
that is the one constant. Provide what your customers need, take care of them. But it's all about how you do it. So I deal with this with promoters that come to me to regulate their shows. I deal with it in the cycling industry all the time. Just because you're presenting a product doesn't mean you're trying to oversell your customer.
That's right.
What it means is you're trying to prevent your customer from overpaying in the future. Yeah. And so if you can present it that way, where you're taking care of the customer and not taking advantage of the customer, that's really where your niche has to be. And so many times when you present that to a new business owner or even an existing business owner, and you say, start suggesting these things, they don't like it because they go, oh my God, my customer's going to freak out. No, it's up to your customer to refuse that.
That's right.
Laying the groundwork.
It's just how you present the option to your customer. Hey, look, if you don't want to do this, it's on you, but this is what I'm seeing on your unit. We need to replace this because if we don't, it's going to cost you triple in the future. It's up to you what you want to do. I'll fix it however you want.
Hey,
it's the same thing with AC units. It's the same thing with bicycles. It's the same no matter what. Yep. It's just being able to have the conversation
and take care of a customer.
Well, it's the thing. Go ahead.
I just got 19 and 17 years out of my systems. They both have been replaced now, but I had my technician, going, hey, Will, you're getting on borrowed time, and I was like, I know, but he always thought, hey, it's getting close. But again, I'm different, but a lot of companies don't do that. They all of a sudden surprise the customer and go, oh, hey, it's time to replace this now. Like, what? And that's when they go get other estimates.
Well, but that's the big training, with technicians is quit prejudging your customer, right? So I learned that lesson a very hard way because I was a residential salesman, and I was sitting at a kitchen table, and the only thing I offered this couple was a 14-SEER system at the time because I looked at the house and I was like, there's no way. And they luckily weren't offended, but said, hey, don't you have something higher? And they paid cash for a higher efficiency system because I judged what it looked like, right? And so I learned that lesson, luckily, fairly early on. And so it's easy to have the conversation with these guys to say, you don't know stuffing cash in a mattress, offer everybody the same thing and just offer it. And then let's see where it goes from there, and the same thing to, just do the best presentation and the best install and the best everything you can so that when you leave the house, the customer had an amazing experience. Do the happy call.
They'll never leave you.
They'll never leave you. And if you do screw up, by the way, that's awesome. Fix it. Say you're sorry and fix it. So I definitely think
Grandma? You want to
Grandma, did you hear her?
I heard dinner was ready.
Yeah, so you guys eating dinner tonight. I love her. That was Mama.
What is she cooking? Number one.
We haven't asked.
We haven't asked tonight.
We do know that we have banana cream pie.
We have banana cream pie, I'm sure, and I think we have a whole bunch of leftover fried chicken from last night. Which, by the way, oh boy,
she is awesome.
She's awesome. Good at fried. All right, so black iron skillet. Is that how she's cooking it?
Or an electric,
a lot of skillets.
An electric skillet. I think she had 3 going last night. But no, she's awesome.
That's awesome.
Nothing better than home cooking. We're having leftovers tonight. My wife made a casserole, which she does great at, and I was supposed to stop by and get something, preferably some fish tonight, but it was running close, and then I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be rushing, so we're having leftovers, which is fine with me.
Thanks for having us tonight.
No, thank you so much, guys.
We've had a blast, and it's like a lot of industries, they could be totally different, just like this, but they intertwine. And it's all the same thing. I always say, like, my wife is a chiropractor by trade. She's a naturopath, but her business and the heating air conditioning business is very identical. It's very similar. So it's just kind of funny. Same issues, or I guess the marketing business for heating air. So no, we've had a blast, guys. We appreciate you taking time out of Meemaw's time here down in Florida. So
well, Kelcey, Ryan, thank you so much. And it's been awesome.
Guys.
Actually, I'm glad we're doing a little bit more than heating and air. Because honestly, how much more can we talk about?
Yeah, this is. We hadn't gotten into our bourbon guest yet, and Ryan, if you'd like to come back to that, we can kind of focus on bourbon.
I would. No, not me. You know that.
Yeah. I saved the picture, so I've got to look and see if I can find it.
Hey, delete all those. They're not admissible in court.
Well, great, guys.
No,
Thank
just
you.
a picture of the bottle that she showed me. So.
No, I would, and I think we would love to get out to you guys right there in Phoenix and do a show from there. I think that'd be really awesome. But thank you again. Just a reminder, everybody, look for that GoFundMe for Jonathan. And so thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks.